Just going to wait a couple of minutes and then I'll get started into everything. So we're going to be going over rearranging equations. That's grades 5 to 8. And if you haven't already, make sure you follow revise_it on Instagram. Just another minute or two and then we'll be going. Okay, so let's get started. So the way I'm going to structure the lesson is I'm going to show you an example question. I'll give you 30 seconds to have a go yourself, and then I'll show you how to go about doing it. So this is our first question. We want to make C the subject of the formula. Let me just change my pen down here. So we want to make C the subject of the formula, and F is equal to 3C minus 4. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to give that a go, and then I'll show you through. So please have a go. Okay, so we have F is equal to 3C minus 4, and we want to make C the subject of the formula. So currently F is the subject of the formula. We can see that from F being equal to 3C minus 4, there is nothing connected to F. There's nothing on this side of the equation. F is all alone on this side. And so we want to rearrange it so that is the same for C. So what we're going to do is, in this scenario, I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And we can see that on this right-hand side for 3C minus 4, add 4 becomes 0. So we're left with F plus 4 is equal to 3C. Remember, what you do to one side, you must do to both sides. So now we have F plus 4 being equal to 3C. So what we're going to do now is we're going to divide both sides by 3, because on this right-hand side we have 3 times by C. So if we divide that by 3, we just get C, and that's what we want. So if we divide both sides by 3, so divide by 3, then what we'll end up with is F plus 4 over 3 being equal to C. And so that is the equation where C is the subject of the formula. Let's move on to the second question. So again, give you 30 seconds to give it a go. Okay, so in this question, it's asking us to make P the subject of the formula, and the formula is M is equal to 3N plus 2. So M equals 3N plus 2P, sorry. So as we can see, M is currently the subject of the formula, so we want P to be in a similar position, or we want it to be in the same position at the end. So we want to remove all the other terms from the side that P is on, so we can do that by taking away 3N from both sides. So as we can see on the right-hand side, you take away 3N and you end up with just 2P, because 3N minus 3N is just 0. And M, take away 3N, we have that being equal to M minus 3N. Now the next step, we have our 2 multiplied by P, So in order to get rid of this 2, we're going to divide it by 2. So we're going to divide both sides by 2, and we end up with p being equal to m minus 3n over 2. Sweet. Moving on to the next question. So the whole idea is they're going to increase in difficulty as we go on. So some students may be finding these quite easy to begin with. Hopefully you are. Other students may not be. But as the lesson goes on, I promise you they will begin to get harder. So for those students who consider themselves higher level, or if you say that you're going to be taking the higher paper, then make sure you stick around till the end to see those harder questions. So I'm going to give you your 30 seconds to give this one a go. Make X the subject. Starting now. Okay, that's 30 seconds. So making X the subject of the equation. So currently we have Y being the subject. Y is equal to a half X plus 1. So what we're going to do, like before, we're going to take away 1 from both sides. So that is simply just Y on one side of the, sorry, not just Y, so that we just have an X term on this side of the equation. So we get Y minus 1 is equal to a half X because we have 1 take away 1, which is just 0. Now, because we have a half X, in order to make it just X, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this side by 2, because a half times 2 is just equal to 1. So a half X times 2 is just X. So we have Y minus 1 is equal to a half X. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2, and we end up with 2 lots of Y minus 1 being equal to X after we've times this side by 2 and this side by 2. And so then we can expand out these brackets if we'd like to end up with 2y minus 2 being equal to x. There we go. On to the next question, which is down here. Make A the subject of the formula. So again, I'm going to give you another 30 seconds to give that one a go. Off you go. Okay, that was well over 30 seconds. And then after this, I'll be having a quick look at the comments to see if there's any questions. So with this one, so we have S being equal to A over 4 plus 8U. We want to make A the subject of the formula. So what we're going to do is we're going to take away 8U from both sides so that we just have an A term on the right hand side. So take away 8U, take away 8U. And we end up with S minus 8U being equal to A over 4. And then similarly to the last question, in order to get rid of this fraction, what we're going to do is multiply both sides by 4. So we're going to times the left-hand side by 4 and the right-hand side by 4. And then we end up with just A being equal to 4 lots of S minus 8U. And so we can expand that out to get 4S minus 32U being equal to A. Apologies, that is an S, not a 5. I have terrible handwriting. But yes, A is equal to 4S minus 32U. Cool. I'll give you guys some time to give this one a go. And then during that, I'll be checking the comments. Appears there is not much going on in the comments apart from people from college. Interesting. Okay, so we're going to run you through how to do this question, make you the subject of the formula. So here we go. So D is equal to UT plus KT squared. So we can see here that we've got a T term multiplying by U. So we know that later on, at some point, we're going to have to divide by T, but not yet. So the first thing that we can do, the simplest thing we can do, is take away KT squared on both sides so that we only have this UT term on the right-hand side. So D minus KT squared is equal to UT. And so as we can see here, we've taken away KT squared on both sides, KT squared minus KT squared, and we're left with just a UT term on the right-hand side. Now what we can do is we can divide both sides by T, as if you have U times T, if we divide that by T, it is just equal to U, as T over T is going to equal 1. Similar to when we have something like U times 2, if we divide that by 2, it just gets us U. So we end up with D minus KT squared over T being equal to U. Cool. Moving on to the next question. So after this, we have 3 more, and you'll definitely see that they're going to get quite a bit more difficult. Also, just a quick thing, make sure you're trying to share this stream with your friends. So give this one a go. Make T the subject of the formula. 2T, or 2 lots of T minus 5 is equal to Y. Off you go. Just a couple more seconds and I'll run you through it. Cool, here we go. So we have 2 lots of T minus 5 being equal to Y, and we want T to be the subject of the formula. So what we're going to do here is, one thing you could do is you could immediately divide both sides by 2, but the other alternative is simply to expand out this bracket. So that's what I'd prefer to do. So 2 lots of T and 2 lots of minus 5 end up with 2 lots of T minus 10. 2 times minus 5, which is minus 10, being equal to Y. So to make T the subject of the formula, we know previously we're just going to add 10 to both sides, and so we get 2T is equal to Y plus 10. And then from this, we know we are going to divide both sides by 2, divide by 2, and we end up with T is equal to Y plus 10 over 2. Well done, Beautifilia Dead. Yeah, that's correct. T is equal to Y plus 10 over 2. Okay, so this is first of the last 3 questions. So we have 2 lots of 3a minus c being equal to 5c plus 1. So what we're going to do here, 2 lots of 3a minus c is equal to 5c plus 1, is we're going to let you have a second to give it a go. And then I'll run you through how to do it. Off you go. Cool, let's run you through it. So we want to make A the subject of the formula. So like last question, we have stuff inside the bracket. So we have 2 lots of 3a minus c. So what we're going to do is we're going to expand these brackets, or at least that's what I would prefer to do. So 2 lots of 3a gives us 6a, and then we get 2 lots of minus c, so we get minus 2c is equal to 5c plus 1. And so what we're going to do is from this, we're going to add 2c to both sides, just like any other time, minus 2c plus 2c, we end up with just 0. And then so we only have a on the left-hand side. So we have 6a is equal to 7c plus 1, as we've added 2c to our 5c. Then what we're going to do is we're going to divide both sides by 6, so dividing it by 6, so we end up with just a by itself. So I'm going to draw a little arrow over to here, and we end up with 7c plus 1 over 6 being equal to a. Now a is the subject of the formula. Well done, Afjao. You should be proud of yourself as a second year sixth former being able to do this. On to the next question. All right, this one is quite a bit more difficult. So I'm going to give you your 30 seconds, but don't worry if you can't get it straight away. It is a lot more difficult than usual. Okay, so moving on. So we have a being equal to 2 minus 7b over b minus 5. So what you're going to want to do here is you're going to multiply both sides by b minus 5, because this is what's on the denominator over here. So if we have this 2 minus 7b over b minus 5, if you times that by b minus 5, then you have a b minus 5 on the top and a b minus 5 on the bottom, and so they both cancel. But then we must also multiply the left-hand side by b minus 5. So we have b minus 5 times a is equal to 2 minus 7b. b minus 5a is equal to 2 minus 7b. It appears someone going under the handle Lelock v Britannia is having a bit of trouble. Can somebody help them in the comments with whatever they need? So we're going to expand this out. So we have ab minus 5a is equal to 2 minus 7b. So like in every other question that we've done, we're going to want to put all of the important terms on one hand side. So in this, it's b. So even though they might not be in the same form, because we've got a multiplied by b, and also we have 7 times b, we're going to put them onto one side, and we're going to take out a factor, with that factor just being b. So what we've got on the left-hand side, we're going to, well, first I'm going to add 7b to both sides so that I have the b's being moved over. So over to here, we have ab plus 7b minus 5a being equal to 2. Now what we can do from there is we can then, firstly we want to get rid of this 5a on the left-hand side. So we're going to add 5a to both sides. So add 5a, and we are left with ab plus 7b is equal to 2 plus 5a. Now from that, what I can do, and if you're familiar with your factorization skills, is I can take out b as a factor from ab plus 7b because it's common to both. So that means I can take out this b and have a plus 7 is equal to 2 plus 5a. And so the reason why this works is up here in red. If I multiply b by a plus 7, I end up with ab plus 7b, as it is just down here. So all I've done is I've taken out the common factor. And then what we can do is we are able to divide both sides by this bracket of a plus 7 divided by a plus 7. And we end up with b being equal to 2 plus 5a divided by a plus 7. Yep, sweet. Now moving on to our final question. We have this over here. So we have d being equal to root 3h over 2, and we want you to make h the subject of the formula. So give it a go. Okay, and now moving on to our final question. So the theme of every other question is that say you want to move something over to one side, you kind of have to do the opposite of what you've done originally to get it there. So say I have something add 2a and I want to move it over to the left side, I'm going to take away 2a. And in this scenario, so we want to make h the subject of the formula, but we've got this annoying surd, or we've got the annoying square root. So what we can do is uh, we can get rid of the square root by squaring both sides, because say we have, let's just imagine the number a. If we have root a and we square it, we end up with root a times by root a, which is just a, which is a lot simpler to work with. So if I'm going to square both sides, I end up with d squared being equal to 3h over 2. What I've done is I've squared the left-hand side, I've squared the right-hand side, and we end up with 3h over 2 being equal to d squared. And then you can just rearrange this similar to every other kind of question. So what we're going to do is multiply the Joe Mama, right? Very very good content in the comment section, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply both sides by 2. So this left hand side times 2 and the right hand side by 2. And we end up with 2d squared. I'm just going to put a line over here. 2d squared is equal to 3h. And from there, I have 2d squared. I can divide that by 3, and I'm left with h by itself. So all I've done here is divide by 3, divide both sides by 3, like we've done before, and we end up with 2d squared over 3 being equal to h. And Donald Trump, 9 plus 10, I'm pretty sure it's 13, but don't take my word for it. You might have to ask someone else. Cool. So, hope you like that. Make sure to message us on Instagram if there's anything you need a hand with. If you have any suggestions for topics to do in the future, just send us a message as well, and we'll kind of go around to doing that. Hope you have enjoyed the stream.